So, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to one more webinar from the Muslim Chamber of Commerce and Industries. Today, we have Dr. Mohsin Shaikh, whom I have already introduced because the time is short. As you know, every business is going down and it has become a big challenge, and everybody wants to have a growth in their business. And so today we have Dr. Mohsin Shaikh telling us of business strategies for growth. So let's listen to him very carefully, learn the strategies and apply in life. He will speak for 35 minutes. After that, we'll have question answer session. And then we have some time for chatting like fellowship. And then we go on and close the meeting. So over to Dr. Mohsin Shaikh. Dr. Saab, Bismillah.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you very much for your kind introduction and giving me an opportunity to share my views with these esteemed members. Today, I will be discussing on business strategies for growth. Now, before we discuss about business strategies for growth, let us first understand few concepts. The first important aspect before we start with any business strategies, or before we discuss any business strategies, we should first understand the concept of what I call as VMOST. VMOST. Now, this is the starting point for understanding any business strategies. Now, the V in this VMOST starts for the vision. The first important aspect that we need to understand is what is the vision of our organization. Now, whenever an organization is formed, the founders have a certain vision. For example, when J.R.D. Tata started the Tata Group of companies, he had a vision of a self-reliant India. That was his vision behind starting the Tata Group. Now, likewise, each organization has a vision, should have a vision. And the vision is to be decided by the founders of the organization. So the first important aspect is that we should understand what is the vision. Now, vision is nothing but the dream of what an organization wants to become in the near future. That means what type of an organization it wants to become in the next 5, 10, 20, 25 years. That is the vision. So the first thing we should understand is what is the vision of the company. Now, if you have formulated a vision, well and good. If you do not have a vision, the starting point is you should have a vision statement. Now, whenever you search any website or you just log into any website of any reputed company, now the first thing is about us. Now, when you click that about us, you will find the first thing there is our vision. So we need to understand the concept of vision. Now, vision is nothing but it is the dream of an organization. What type of an organization it wants to become in the future. That is the first thing. The second important aspect is the M. M stands for mission. The second important aspect is the organization should understand what is their vision and mission. Now, mission here means why does an organization exist? What is the purpose of its existence? Why does an organization exist? What type of products and services it is going to manufacture? To whom it is going to sell? How it is going to manufacture? How it is going to sell? So the mission statement explains the purpose and existence of the organization. Why does an organization exist? So our mission is to, provide latest goods and services to the customers and make them happy. So that could be the mission of an organization. So the first important aspect is vision. Then we should have a mission statement. Each organization should have a mission statement. Now the third, once you define your vision, once you define your mission, then the next important aspect is goals. What are the goals of your organization. Now, what are the things which you want to achieve maybe in the next year? So what are the goals? These are the future statements, the statements which describes what the organization wants to achieve in near future, maybe in the next year. So you should have goals. Next important aspect is your objectives. Now the goals needs to be translated into objectives which can be achieved. So goals are broken down into objectives. So this is the hierarchy of what we call as a strategic intent: vision, mission, goals, and objectives. Now, when we are setting up our objectives, one thing we need to understand, or the criteria that we need to use in order to formulate our objectives or goals, is the goals or the objective should be what we call as SMART goals. SMART. That is what we call as SMART goals. Now, SMART, the S here in SMART, that denotes that the objectives should be specific. It should not be vague. That means we want to conquer the world. We want to become the market leader. No, these are the vague terms. It should be your goal, your objective should be very specific. That means we want to increase our market share by 10% in the next 1 year. So this is a very specific goal. Just saying we want to increase our market share doesn't sound or doesn't resonate. So here we should be very specific. The goals or objectives that we are setting should be SMART, and here it starts with S, means specific. It should be very, very specific. The goal should not be vague. Second important aspect is SM. M here stands for measurable. We should be able to measure what our goals and objectives are. Now, if you say that we want to increase customer satisfaction, now how are you going to measure customer satisfaction? What is the metric that you are going to use to measure customer satisfaction? You should have some sort of metric through which you are going to measure. So here goals should be specific and it should be measurable. There has to be some criteria on the basis of which, against which you will be able to measure these goals. The third is SMA. A is achievable. Now the goals that you set should not be just dreams. It should be achievable. We should be able to achieve that. For example, you say that we want to increase market share by 50% in the next year. It is impossible. Very, very difficult. It is almost impossible to increase your market share to 50% in 1 year. So your goals should be achievable. Or you can say that we want to increase the market share by 5%. Now 5% is achievable. If you say 50%, then it is very, very difficult. So it should be achievable. The next important aspect is that it should be specific, it should be measurable, it should be achievable, and it should be realistic. Now, whatever goals we set, they should be realistic. Now, it should not happen that we say, for example, we say that we want to start a restaurant on the moon. Now, for some, it may be possible, but then it doesn't sound very realistic. For example, if the Virgin Group has started space travel, and it has been successful. And now they are planning to start motels on the moon. Now, for them it is realistic. But then if you say that we want to, again, explore Jupiter, or we want to, start a business on the Mars. So that is currently highly impossible. So here we need to understand that the goals that we are setting, they has to be realistic. That means it should be practical, it should be feasible, it should be economical. And the next important aspect here is it should be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and the last part is the T. T here stands for time bound. Now you may have the best of the goals. They are very specific, they are measurable, they are what you can say realistic, they are achievable. But then if you don't have a time frame within which you want to achieve that goal, then it is of no use. Now you say that we want to increase the market share by 5%, you want to increase the market share by 10%, 15%. Good, it's specific, it is measurable, it is achievable, it is realistic. But when you have not specified a time frame, so you need to specify a time frame. But when? Maybe in the next 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever it is. So that should be time bound. So these are the prerequisites of understanding strategy. One, you have to have a vision, you have to have a mission, you need to have your goals, and the goals and objectives should be smart. Now, in this background, then we come to the concept of strategy. Now, the strategy is the overall plan through which you are going to achieve your vision, mission, goals, and objectives. So strategy is something, a grand plan through which you achieve your vision, mission, goals, and objectives. So that is what a strategy is. It is a tool through which you achieve your vision, your mission, your goal, and objectives. So that is what strategy is. It is a long-term plan through which you achieve your vision, your mission, your goals, and your objectives. Now, this process of formulating your vision, your mission, your goals, and objectives, that is what we call as a strategic intent. So that is our strategic intent. It means we have formulated our vision, we have formulated our mission, we know our goals, we know our objectives. Now, we want to achieve them. And the organization will then strive to achieve them, make the resources available for the achievement of the strategic intent. They will focus all the energies, all the resources will be focused, channelized for the achievement of the strategic intent, which compromises of the vision, mission, goals, and objectives of the organization. Now, that is what a strategy is. Now, after understanding the background of strategy, now we come to the next part, that is the strategies for business growth. Essentially, all the strategies, we can classify these strategies into 3 types. Now, one is what we call as a stability strategy. Another is called a growth strategy. And the third type of strategy is what we call as a retrenchment strategy. Now, this depends upon the volume of business activity. If we want to increase the volume of our business, we say that we are pursuing a growth strategy. If we want to decrease the volume of our business or decrease our business activity or the level of our business activity, we say that the organization is pursuing a retrenchment strategy. And thirdly, when we say that the organization neither wants to increase or decrease the current level of its business activity, we say that the organization is pursuing a stability strategy. Stability strategy means to maintain status quo. For example, an organization is a market leader having 40% of the market share in the industry. Now it wants to maintain its position in the industry. So that organization will pursue what we call as a stability strategy. It wants to maintain status quo. It wants to maintain the level of business activity, the level of its market share, the level of its sales, the level of its revenues. It wants to maintain that. So the organization is pursuing a stability strategy. Now, the situation may be different for some other organization. The other organization is finding it very difficult to survive. And some of the businesses are going into loss. And it is very difficult for an organization to sustain these losses. So the organization will say that we want to decrease the level of our business activity. We want to focus on our core business and get out of the other businesses. Now, for example, take the example of Tata Group. We all know that Tata Group is into different businesses. Tata is into automobile business. Tata is into software business. Tata is into steel business. Tata is into entertainment business. There are different businesses. Now, once upon a time, it was into cosmetic business. It used to manufacture soap. It used to manufacture detergents. It used to manufacture cosmetics. Now, Tata found it that that is not their core business. Manufacturing soap and detergent is not their core business. Manufacturing cosmetics is not their core business. So they say that we will focus on our core business. We'll focus on our automobiles. We'll focus on steel. We'll focus on IT, software. We should get out of this business. So they followed a retrenchment strategy, exited out of those businesses which they don't have what we call as core competence. So they decided to exit out of the soap and detergent business. Now you might be knowing, many of you might have also used and might also be using now. Tata used to manufacture a soap called Hammam. That was manufactured by their plant. They had a plant in, I think, Kandivali. They had a plant called Tomco. It was called as Tomco, Tata Oil Mills Company Limited, Tomco. Moti was again a big brand of soap, which Tatas used to manufacture. So Moti, Hammam, Sunlight, these were some of the soap and detergent which Tata used to manufacture. They sold that business to Hindustan Unilever, or it was that time HUL, or today we call it HLM, Hindustan Lever Limited. So they got out of that particular business. They used to also manufacture cosmetic. They had a product line by the name Lakme. It was called as Lakme Lever. They used to manufacture cosmetics. You might be knowing Ponds. Ponds was their famous brand. They sold it off. That was also sold off to Hindustan Unilever. So the point is that retrenchment strategy, when you find that you are not able to concentrate on so many businesses, you might be facing problems in certain businesses, or you might not be having a core competence in certain businesses, you exit out of that business, sell off that particular business, focus on your core businesses. So when we say that an organization is focusing on its core business, getting out of the unrelated businesses or getting out of those businesses where it is making losses, then we say that an organization is pursuing a retrenchment strategy. When it wants to maintain the status quo, we say that it is pursuing a stability strategy. Now, the third and the most important strategy is what we call as a growth strategy. The organization wants to increase its level of business activity. It wants to increase its sales. It wants to increase its revenue. It wants to increase its market share. Now, how to pursue a growth strategy? Now, there is one framework, a very popular framework in order to understand how to go or how to implement growth strategies. That is called as a ENSOF matrix. Now, I had prepared a presentation, but unfortunately, due to the technical problem in my laptop, I am not able to share it. So, for your understanding, this is what we call as the ENSOF metric. Now, ENSOF metric is one of a framework tool that is used to pursue a growth strategy. Now, it talks about four important aspects. It talks about product development, it talks about market development, it talks about market penetration, and it talks about diversification. These are the four aspects. Now, there are two parameters. One is what you call as existing products and services. Second is new product and services. The other parameter is market. One parameter is product. In product, we have existing product, new product. In market, we have existing market and new market. Now, based upon this, we have a matrix which have quadrants. Now, the first thing is what we call as existing product, selling existing product in existing market. So that is what we call as market penetration, selling existing product in existing market. How to increase the sale of your existing product in your existing market. Now, for example, you are a organization which is manufacturing soap, detergents. Now, you are operating in a local market. So, you are operating in, say, the Pune market. Now, when we say that we are going for market penetration, now you have the same market and you have the same product. Now, the question is that how are you going to increase the sale of your existing product in your existing market? So that is what we call as market penetration, increasing the sale of the existing product in the existing market. Now, how to do this? The first important aspect is you need to differentiate your product from that of your competitors, so that your product appeals more to the customers than that of your competitors. So if you are manufacturing a particular product, you should be able to differentiate your product from that of your competitors. What is the USP of your product? What is the unique selling proposition of your product? Why should a customer buy your product and not that of your competitors? It could be based on price. You say that I'm giving you the same quality product at a lesser price. It could be quality. You can say that the quality of my product is better than that of the competitors. It could be service. I'm providing quick service. So quality, price, service, this could be the differentiators. It could also be, for example, if it is a say shopping mall or it is a restaurant, it could also be ambience. If you visit my mall, if you visit my service center, you will find a different ambience. You will find ample parking space. You will find that my employees are well trained. They are very courteous. When a customer comes to them, they are very courteous. They are very helpful. So that could be a differentiating factor. Your employees, the courtesy of your employees, the helpfulness and resourcefulness of your employees could be a differentiating factor. So differentiate your product from that of your competitors. Second is add features to your products which are not there in that of your competitors. Additional benefits, additional features. That could be in form of packaging. That could be in form of any other thing. The things, the benefits which your product offers, which are not there in the products of your competitors. Features, benefits of your products. Add unique features to your product, which the competitors not do. So this is how you can differentiate your product and you can attract customers to your product. So I'm talking this about market penetration, how to sell your existing product in your existing market through differentiation. And there are different ways of differentiation: quality, price, employees, ambience. This could be a differentiating factors. Second is by introducing more features in your product. Features, that means your product may be easy to use. Your product may be more durable. Your product may be eco-friendly. That is again a point of differentiation on this. Eco-friendly products. Customers are becoming very, very aware. Now, for example, you know that you might be knowing the famous war between Hindustan Lever and Nirma. Nirma was the organization, a small-scale organization, which was started by Karsan Bhai Patel. Karsan Bhai Patel in the MIDC area of Gujarat. He was, he started that particular business. He used to make pouches of its detergent powder, and on his bicycle, he used to go and sell door-to-door his product. Now, his product was good. People started demanding more of product. He set up a small-scale factory in the Gujarat MIDC, and then he branded his product. You find that Nirma and that iconic Nirma girl on that particular packaging. And then he was the person to take on the mighty Hindustan Lever. And Hindustan Lever, for the first time, they were being beaten by a small-scale domestic enterprise, multinational company being challenged by Nirma. So Nirma at that time was competing with what you call surf. You might be knowing that famous advertisement, surf ki kharide mein hi samajhdari hai. That was the advertisement. But now Nirma gave a tough competition. So what did these people do? They tried many unethical means. They conducted a market survey and purposefully asked the customers that if they found that the customers were using that Nirma detergent, they said that, if you use Nirma detergent powder, your hands and get, the rashes on your, it gets problem. So that this particular powder is harsh on your hands. So that was one weakness they found, but they could not sustain that. Then they had to call a meeting of all the executives and say that, how do you fight this fellow Nirma? Now the price of surf and the price of Nirma, there was a lot of difference. This surf was selling 5 times that of Nirma. The price of Nirma was 5 times less than that of surf. And they said that, we cannot fight on the basis of this branding alone. You can't say that surf ki kharidari mein samajhdari hai. You cannot induce the customers by this approach. So we need to come up with a similar type of product which can take on Nirma. And then they came up, they brainstormed, they discussed, and they came up with what we call as the product we call as wheel. And there's another interesting story which people say that this particular wheel, it was given that this wheel because they said that ye Nirma ke chakkar se bahar aane ke liye. Yeah. So you come up with certain features in your product which the customer values. It should not happen that you say that my product has X, Y, Z, A, B, C, D. The customer, and if that particular features in your product are not valuable to the customers, it is of no use to have that particular features. So this is how you can penetrate the existing market with your existing product. Second important aspect in this is how to attract non-users. Not everyone will be using your products. So there are some people who are not using your product. How do you attract them? Because they are also your potential customers. So some might be hesitant. They might be saying that your product, we don't know whether how your product is. We have not tried your product. Give them samples. Give them free samples so that they can use the product. And maybe they may like that product. And once they like that product, they'll become your customer. So these are some of the strategies that can be used for market penetration. Another thing Another strategy is what we call as product development. Now, product development means offering new product in existing market. That means you come up with new products for the same market. You are catering for the same market. You are catering for the regional market or the domestic market or whatever is your market. Pune market, Maharashtra market, or Western Maharashtra market, or Western India market, Northern India market, Southern market, whatever is your market. You are offering new products to the existing market. Come up with new products. For example, you are offering soap. Come up with shampoos. If you are offering only what you can say bathing soap, you come up with detergents. So you extend your product line, or you can offer altogether new products. For example, take the example of Uber. Everyone knows Uber. It has revolutionized the automobile industry. So it is the largest car manufacturer, you can say. It is the largest organization dealing with cars without owning a single car. So it is a platform aggregator. This is the largest aggregator. It came up with a new business model. Now, one of the important aspects is a new business model. So Uber came up with a new business model, a very disruptive business model that challenged or that affected the existing business models. So it came up with this Uber ride or aggregator platform. It came up with food delivery also. It came up with Uber Eats, food delivery, catering to the same market, but new product. Then again, it came up with bikes, Uber bikes. So same market, but you are coming up with new products. So that is what we call as product development. The third important aspect is market development. Now you are offering the same product, but in different market. Product is the same. Now you are offering it to a new market. For example, you are catering only to the Pune market. Now you are catering to entire Maharashtra. You are catering only to the Maharashtra state. You are catering to, say, some more other states. You are increasing your geographical market. That is what we call as market development. Same product is offered in a new market. You are expanding your market, geographical market. Or you can also develop market by what you can say, getting in more customer types, getting in more customers or different type of customers. Let me give you one example. Take the example of Cadbury. Cadbury is a classic example of how to increase the market. This is the consumer base. How to increase the consumer base. The first important is when we think about chocolate, we think about that this is a product for children. Children have chocolates. So here, Cadbury wanted to increase its base. Now, children, there are a lot of children, but then they want to increase. They want to increase their customer base. So they came up with an advertisement. If you see the advertisement, they came up with a advertisement. You see that there is a cricket match going on. There is a last ball of the match, and you require 4 runs to win that particular match. And then there is the person who hits a 6, and then you find a beautiful girl. She comes all around the stadium and hugs that one. And then the message they want to portray here is that the chocolates are not for just children. They are also for youngsters. Youngsters can also have chocolates. So from children, you are expanding your customer base to youngsters. Then they came up with another advertisement. If you have watched that advertisement, you'll come to know the psychology behind this advertisement. You'll see that there is an office goer, a matured man. He's not a youngster, a matured man, married man, employed man, office goer, executive man. He comes from the office and he sees a football ground, and the youngsters, some of the children are playing football, and then one of them hits that particular football, and that football comes near to him. Then he looks at it and then gives it a kick, and then takes out a Cadbury from his pocket and has that Cadbury. What they want to portray? They want to portray that it is okay that even if matured office goers eat chocolate, Cadbury. So see how they are increasing from children to youngsters to mature people. Then another important aspect here is that when we talk about chocolates, they are consumed only during birthdays. So the birthdays and chocolates, there is a close relationship between birthdays and chocolates. But then birthdays come only once in a year. You have to sell chocolates every day. So they researched the Indian market and they came to know that Indians are very fond of having sweets, whatever may be the function. If it is a marriage or any ceremony, any function, any festival, people, Indians like to have sweets. So they came up with another advertisement wherein they said that, whatever may be the occasion, have a Cadbury. Whether it is a birthday, whether it is a marriage or whatever is the occasion, you have Cadbury. Cadbury at every occasion. They also have an advertisement wherein a old couple sitting next to each other, they also share Cadbury. Now see how they are creating an increased customer base from children to youngsters to mature people to the elderly, old people. And then how from one occasion to all the occasions, whatever may be the occasion, have a Cadbury. So that is how you can go for what we call as market development. One, geographical market. You expand your market. You are a local player, you become a regional player. You are a regional player, you become a national player. You are a national player, you become a international player. You are an international player, you become a global player. Expand your market. And second is expand your customer base. If your customer base is children, if your customer, you increase your customer base so that the demographic customer base is increased. It could be children, it could be any of that demographic factor. It could be on the basis of gender. It could be your products are for only for females. For example, cosmetics. Take an example of cosmetics. Now, Fair and Lovely and all other cosmetics. Fairness cream. Now, fairness cream, it had a huge market in India. And who used to use the fairness cream? Girls, women. Now, what about the men? So, there is a fairness cream for men. Mami has come up with a fairness scheme. There are many organizations who has come up with a fairness scheme for men. So what you do? You increase your base. It is not restricted just to certain age group or certain gender. This particular product, it is for both males as well as females. Fairness cream, it is not just for women. It is also for males. Male fairness cream, big market, big category. So this is how you develop your market. So product development we have seen, new product for existing market. We have discussed about market development. That means the same product in different market. We also discussed about market penetration, same product in the same market. And the last point here is diversification. Diversification is again a growth strategy. Diversification is new products, new market. You go come up with new products and new markets. If you analyze, you will find that all the Indian big business houses, they are a diversified group. Take the example of Reliance, take the example of Tata, take the example of the Birlas, take the example of Goenkas. You take any business and you will find that it is a diversified group. Take the example of ITC. ITC is into cigarettes. ITC manufactures agarbatti. ITC manufactures candies. ITC is into agriculture. ITC is into hotels. It is a very diversified group. Tata's into automobile, Tata is into steel, Tata is into information technology, Tata is into entertainment, Tata was into telecom business. Take the example of the Reliance. Reliance is into what you can say oil refinery. Reliance is into FMCG sector. Reliance is into financial services. Reliance is into insurance. Reliance is into entertainment. Reliance is into mobile phone business, telecom business, n number of businesses. So that is what we call as a diversification. You enter new businesses, you come up with new products for new markets. So these are the growth strategies which an organization can pursue. So this is what I wanted to discuss here. First, we discussed about the concept of VMOST, that is vision, mission, the uh, objectives, goals, strategies. And then we discussed about what do you understand by a strategy, different types of strategies. And in growth strategies, we discussed about market development, product development, market penetration, and diversification. So this is what I had to say. If there are any questions, I will be happy to answer. Once again, I would like to thank the Muslim Chamber for giving me an opportunity to express my views in front of these esteemed members. Thank you.
It's a beautiful presentation, Dr. Mohsin sir, and I'm sure there are people who want to ask questions. You explained it so well that it was very well taken by most of us. At least a person like me understood every part of it.
Thank you.
So I think you're excellent, mashallah. Allah aapko jazai khair de. Anybody who wants to ask a question can raise your electronic hand. We'll come to you and go ahead with your question. He'll answer the question for you. Please raise your electronic hand and ask the question. Anybody who has a question, please go ahead. And again, for the guest who want to join the Muslim Chamber of Commerce, you have Anis Bhai's number there with you. Please contact him. Please join us. Help the community upliftment. As you know, Muslim Chamber of Commerce is only into community development and getting people together, all caste, creed, gender, everybody we are trying to put together and push the community ahead in whatever way we can. So I'm sure there are questions. If anybody wants to ask a question, please raise your hand. We have our own Facebook. We have a YouTube channel. We also have a WhatsApp group. I believe Mr. Dahar wants to ask a question. Dahar, go ahead. Yes.
हेलो अस्सलाम वालेकुम
Alhamdulillah.
सर मुझे पूछना था शेख साहब को कि ना व्हेन रेजिंग फंड्स इशू रोटेटिंग फंड इशू तो उसको कैसे टैकल किया जाए क्योंकि कैसे होता है कि हम जब हमारे वेंडर्स से कुछ लेते हैं तो उसको पैसा देना पड़ता है और जो कस्टमर्स रहता है he is giving payments after 3 months 6 months so the issue of working capital is becomes difficult to what strategies should we apply to increase the working capital and rotating money any strategies for that you can suggest
now the important aspect is I'm not a finance guy, but what I understand is that a company there has to be a what you can say a continuous flow of funds, flow of cash to the company, so that the day-to-day expenses and operations of the company or the business has to be maintained. That means you should have sufficient working capital. Now, this is one of the problem of almost all what you can say the businessmen, that if they want to sell, they have to give certain credit period. Now, what you have to do is that you see that what is your capital working capital requirement, what is the status of your fund flow, and accordingly you have a strategy for the credit period. Now, if you give a too long credit period, maybe 45 days, 30 days, and then you fall short of cash here, then it will create a problem for your business. Then you have to again take loans and then pay interest on that particular loans, and then the vicious cycle will come. So it is better that again you have a certain strategy that you say that if you pay in cash, you'll get a cash discount. If you pay within a particular time period, frame a policy that this 15 days is what your business can afford. If you get cash back within 15 days, that will not have any impact on your working capital. So likewise, you try to identify what is the maximum credit period that you can give to your vendors, your suppliers, and other business associates, and try to have a good collection policy. It is not just that you give a credit of say 15 days and for 15 days you sit idle. From the 10th day itself, you send him a reminder that look, 15th you have to pay me. So if you keep a follow-up track, then I think you may be able to overcome that problem to a greater extent.
Anybody else, please raise your hand and ask your question. I again appeal to the new members, please join us. We need very educated and influential people like you to help the community upliftment. We thank Rizwan Munir Sheikh for getting Professor Dr. Mohsin Sheikh for us, a very eloquent speaker. Today we really enjoyed the evening here. After a day of fasting, it was really a good feast to be with you, sir. Thank you very much for being with us.
And
we
thank
look
you,
forward to more guidance from you.
My friend Rizwan, for introducing me to this auspicious gathering, and would like to contribute in whatever way possible for the upliftment of the community.
We'll always be in touch with you, sir. We require a lot of guidance from you. I'm sure there are more topics you can cover in the future, and
Sure.
there are more ideas you can give us. You can guide us. So be with us, please. And if there is anybody who wants to ask a question, please go ahead. So I think there are no people who wants to ask the question. So we keep 5 minutes for a general fellowship for everybody, and then we call it a day. We are unmuting everybody. Thank you, everybody. First, thank you, Rizwan, for bringing Dr. Mohsin Sheikh. Thank you, Dr. Saab, for coming and giving such valuable inputs about strategies in business. The Muslim Chamber of Commerce and Industries are very grateful to you, and we request you to be attached to us, be part of us, guide us,